I think in the 2019 season, we felt as a coaching staff pretty confident that we had something special within the fall season before we even started our traditional spring season.
There was never a year that we were ever above 500 DeSales lacrosse history. Forming in the fall, I think we kind of knew we had something, but obviously we hadn't proven anything yet.
Looking back at past seasons, I didn't really know what to expect going into game one. We've always had like a rocky start.
We came in pretty hopeful for the year, expecting success.
And, we were playing for something bigger than just ourselves, and it was a magical ending to a great story.
The marriage of the leadership that we had on our team, the talent in our team, the story of Maria is really what turned the season into what it was.
They brought so much love into Maria's life, and so much hope, and actually so much fun. The inspiration, the interactions that they had, the looking forward to the next game was such an important part of Maria during that time. And so, we will forever be thankful, to just that act of love.
We had a great fall 4 weeks, which is what we're allowed, and then we had a really spectacular 2 scrimmages. And when we got done with those, we felt like we had a really good team put together.
Going back to that fall of 2018 before the 2019 season, I think that we kind of knew we had a little bit of something going into the year. We added a few pieces, Matt Brown, a couple of talented freshmen as well in that year. And performing in the fall, I think we kind of knew we had something, but obviously we hadn't proven anything yet.
We came in our freshman year, being big fish in a small pond, and then you get to college and you're a small fish in a big pond. And we started as outsiders. The team was feeling us out, who was going to be a good fit, who wasn't. And we kind of started separated. And then as the year went on, we started to grow a lot closer.
We got some really sad news about Maria having terminal illness, and more specifically brain cancer. And I think that was something that the guys took really to heart.
Sure. Go ahead. You can start.
So when Maria got the diagnosis, the first thing that happened is that we put out the word that Maria needed prayer. So we had come back from Washington, wasn't it? And it was Super Bowl weekend. And Maria got a message from one of her friends saying to her, every year the Krugs would have a Super Bowl party, and asking Maria if she wanted to go.
The Middleton family is a family friend of my family's for years. We both went to the same grade school. Obviously, she's many years younger than me, but she's actually between my second youngest and my middle brother, between their grades. So they obviously knew we were going to the same grade school, same parish, going to church. I didn't have that close of a personal relationship before this, this season and initially introducing Maria to our team, but obviously I knew Maria and Maria knew me. How this all kind of came about was, every year, 2 years before that, I should say, we always have a huge Super Bowl party at my family home, and the whole team would come over to my house for the Super Bowl. A couple days before the Super Bowl that year in 2019, my dad actually, like I said, is very close with Mr. Middleton. I had a conversation with him, and they found out after going to a doctor's appointment that Maria had a terminally ill brain tumor in her brainstem. I knew who Maria was. Can't believe that something like this was happening to a girl like her. Ultimately, what we came up with was, and what came to me was that she needs support. And my idea was to reach out to my family, the DeSales Lacrosse family, and see if they would take her in, and she would gain 50 brothers and we would gain 1 sister.
We kind of had caught wind of the situation, and so Mr. Krug had us all come. We got a big teddy bear for her, and we had a big, I guess kind of like a big card, I think it was. We all signed for her.
Yeah, so the Krug is, as Susan said, it's just a regular party. They don't invite you, people just don't show up, but there are always a lot of people at Super Bowl party at the Krug's house. And after we were there for a little while, Mr. Krug, Greg, my friend, said, hey, we've got a little surprise for Maria downstairs. Would you mind? And I said no, so I went to Maria and she said, I told her that the Krugs have a surprise downstairs for you. And she said, well, you go first. So they have like a turning staircase as I'm walking down, and as I turn the corner, I look up and I see like about 20 good-looking athletic young men with dozens of roses and a bear that was bigger than me. And as Maria turns the corner, they all scream, "We believe in miracles."
And that's the moment that she gained 50 brothers and we gained a little sister.
Yeah, and like, you know, walking down into a basement filled with, you know, 50 college kids is, you know, very overwhelming. Strangers, nonetheless, is very overwhelming to a girl in high school, and like, you know, the impact from that moment, you know, on was, you know, memories that we're gonna have forever.
So somehow, you know, they were able to get approval, you know, from their coach and from the administration, and to dedicate the season to Maria. And very quickly she became like their little sister.
The expectations we had going into game one was obviously to win. We were getting good senior leadership back that year, a couple fifth years. We had a great team in terms of chemistry that we had from the prior year. From the fall into the first game, we were really confident in what we had put together before.
Going into that first game was probably the most confident I felt as a player.
First game of the year was Montclair State, double overtime game. Thriller back and forth. Couldn't get it done in one overtime. You know, Justin Monahan scores a goal in the second overtime, and everybody goes nuts.
When we won in double overtime, that catapulted our confidence to the stratosphere. We were the most confident team. We knew we were good. We knew we could win. That helped us tremendously.
That kind of set the pace for what the rest of the season looked like.
When we played out on Long Island, and we played St. Joseph's College from Long Island. Wasn't a big team, maybe 15, 20 guys, but really only, 12 solid guys on the field. So not a ton of good talent. We went out there very cocky, thinking we were going to win. We ended up being down 8-1 at halftime, and offense couldn't produce at all. Wasn't really defense's fault. It was more just offense not clicking. And second half rolled around, and we ended up coming back and winning maybe 9-7. Or maybe 9-8, something, one goal game, pretty close game, but we ended up winning it. And after the game, we ended up having our inaugural initiation for the freshmen. And it just really grew us really close as a team, coming back from, down 7 goals, and then, having our initiation as freshmen and really growing as a team there.
One game that we had in mind was Stockton for sure. The year before we lost to them in overtime, left a bad taste in our mouth. So, when we rolled up to that, or when they rolled up to home, we knew it was go time, and we knew that we were going to kick them in the mouth.
I didn't know anything about the DeSales lacrosse team, and then I said, well, I got to look up something about these guys, and then I found out that they had really never had a winning season. I think they might have had one 500 team. I forget the exact thing.
Yeah.
And so going into the season, the expectations were that they would do a little better. It was just an amazing thing. Maria was undergoing radiation, so she couldn't be at all the games, and they had this big head that they would look at. When they score a goal, they go over and point to Maria and point to heaven. And just this bond began. And when Maria was there, could come to the games, it was very special. But the season goes on. They're 5-0, they're 10-0, they're 12-0, they're 15-0. We actually start getting calls from news outlets around the country saying, could we do stories? And we said, no, this is a private matter between, among what's become a family.
During that season, as we got a win, Maria got stronger. And we won 16 games in a row, so she got pretty strong.
We became closer and closer with every win, and with every win, we went over to the bench and took a picture with Maria, with full team picture with Maria, and that just was infectious. It was like the guys didn't want to let that go. They wanted to have that every chance they got, and so it was, the chemistry became tighter, the want and will to win for her became more apparent, and that was just infectious.
Del Valle game always meant a lot to me every year. My dad went there. I had a sour taste in my mouth from the year before because we actually lost, and that one really irked me. But the real story behind that game meaning so much kind of had to do with Maria. That was one of the games Maria came to. I remember talking to my dad before the game and saying, go get one for Maria. I had an opportunity, I took it, I scored, and running off the field at the end of it, pointing up to her, it was a really special game. That was kind of a game we had her as our honorary captain. We gave her a jersey. Her favorite jersey number was number 7. We gave it to her that game. She was there for the coin toss, and it was just a special game overall.
That was the game when he scored, right?
Yes.
That was Maria was the
Maria's-
Maria was the honorary captain of that game, and Frank probably tells the story better.
Yeah,
but
because she said something to him.
she told him, I think, to do something special. Go do something special. But it was just an example of some of the magic that was always associated with Maria, and continues to be associated with it. But it was also just Frank wanted to do that for her. He rose to the occasion
It's a miracle.
and did something special. I wouldn't want to say it's a miracle of Frank, because
And then going into our 16th game, we lost. It was the last game of the season, and that probably was the best thing that could have happened to us.
What I kind of got from that was we had people on our team that, we didn't look twice about losing an undefeated season, It was, we're focused, we're on to the next one. We wanted the opportunity to see them again, and we knew that we needed to earn that.
Yeah, and that first loss was, I'm not gonna lie, it was definitely a humbling experience, right? We hadn't lost a game all season. We just thought we were gonna roll in there and did what we did to the previous teams that we played, and that obviously wasn't the case. And it makes you take a step back and okay, now we were more focused. We got our first loss out of the way. It's not gonna happen again.
I think it actually brought us a little bit closer together. Like I said before, I think it was more of a relief that it happened, and I think it was actually a good thing that we lost that first game.
We went from being the hunted to now we're the hunter. We got beat.
I feel like because of that loss going into that first playoff game, we were more motivated to win.
We knew going into the game that we had to come out hot, we had to come out fast, and basically we had to play our games.
We went back to the same turf that we had lost our only game of the season at.
and the game was neck and neck in the first half, and then we found out that the team didn't know if Maria was there, and word came up into the stands, is Maria here, is Maria here? And so at halftime, Maria went down to greet the team coming back onto the team.
Onto the field.
And onto the field, and my data may be a little aged, but if I'm not mistaken, they scored like 2 or 3 goals in the first 90 seconds of the
Right.
second half.
Looking to get topside, fires across to Yeoman, he drifts it, goal! And so with 27 seconds left, it comes down to one face-off. And Eastern's out of timeouts. Still no possession. Journey with a ground ball.
I remember like almost blacking out when he got that ground ball because I really wasn't like, too concerned about the time. I was more concerned of like, just keep the ball on our side, don't let him get it. And then, once I turned around, next thing you know, everybody's running on the field, and it was almost like a shock, like, wow, like, we made history.
Never forget it because, I actually do forget it because I blacked out in the moment. I don't really know exactly who I hugged. I have to watch the video to see what I do because I forgot about it. I don't remember running out of the field.
But it was also disbelief because no other team in DeSales history had ever won a MAC championship, and to be a part of like that first team was an unbelievable experience and one that I can never ever forget.
No, I can't describe to you the feeling I felt. It was just euphoria. Like I really can't explain that. I still to this day the best day of my life.
And so there's chaos at the end of the game, everybody running over, and then I begin to see all of the players like running to the center, and I begin to hear them calling out, and they were calling out for Maria, and they wouldn't take the team picture without her. So it just a special bond.
I had the chance to talk to Maria one-on-one, and I had very good conversation, and it just felt like something different being around her. And getting this horrible news and sharing it with us, it was incredible to see how positive she was about it and how she took it as a chance to go head on as something and not look at the negatives of it, but look at the positives of how many people cared for her and just the little things like that.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite memories of Maria were taking pictures with her after the game and watching the guys run up and climb up the fence and gather around her, and her being at every game and just always positive. It was tremendous. It was unbelievable.
For the biggest message that I learned from Maria was live in the moment. Never get too high, never get too low. Enjoy where you're at, and be thankful for where you are. That was kind of the message I took from her, and I tried to embrace that. Every practice, every game, every day.
Thinking what would Maria do? Like knowing that anything that I was going through and anything that I wanted to feel sorry about myself, whether it was bad grades or just a bad day overall, like taking a step back and realizing like there's people that are going through things that are much worse than a bad grade or a bad day, but it's how you take those days and you flip them to see positive in it, and that's something that we honed in and practiced that whole year, and even something that I put in my daily lifestyle just because I know that people are going through it way worse, and not to feel sorry for myself for little minor inconveniences.
There was such a love. Maria loved each and every one of these players. And in turn, she felt that love. And it's a powerful force. It's the most powerful force in the universe.
She definitely left a huge impact on, not just myself, but everybody on the team. Right before the season, I had watched my grandfather pass away, and it was kind of like a low point in my life. As the season started, we're talking more about Maria and listening to her journey, and everything that I thought I was kind of depressed about kind of just went away because I was upset for the loss of my grandfather, but you have a high school girl here that's fighting for her life. It really just showed that, you might think you're going through something hard, but somebody else is going through something harder.
Maria was a very special person in that she was very smart. She was the class president. She was the #1 student in her class. When she was in high school, she had set the 100-yard dash record, ran in the pen relays, was the leading scorer on the basketball team.
Running 4 times in her life.
All of these physical skills were taken away from her.
Irish dancer.
But ultimately, her attitude, she controlled the one thing that she could always control, and that was her attitude over those things over which she had no control. And her final journal entry that she could physically write was 2 words: think hope.
The love for Maria hasn't ended from the DeSales team. Her grave is probably one of the most frequented grave sites at the shrine of Our Lady Czestochowa. There was placed a championship t-shirt and flowers and other things like that. So the DeSales team certainly touched her life, but and Brian, we can still see how Maria's touching their lives.